I guess in the way of having a burden of proof for this statement, does it really apply to the claim at all, or is it just they're adding some icing on top of it?
They're really so the little unbeknownst to Miss Abash or Ziya, Mr. Allen had no ulterior motive. That's just icing on it.
Okay.
It's like a little spooky story. It's like, oh, but little did he know he was planning this, this freak off or whatever.
Yeah. All right, now here's where it gets interesting. All right, factual background. According to Miss Abash or Bash, I'm going to start calling her Ziya. She met DJ Akademiks online via social media on or about 2021. So they haven't known each other long. She began casually dating him, and he periodically invited her to his New Jersey home. Now, this I was not aware of. I didn't realize they had been casually dating, because Akademiks made it sound like they were just friends and he hadn't talked to her for a year, which is another interesting point. I don't know if that'll have any weight moving on. But it says at the time, Miss Ziya lived in Pennsylvania. She did not have transportation, so Akademiks would send her a car service such as Uber, Lyft to pick her up in Pennsylvania and bring her to his home in New Jersey. As previously stated, on July 16th, 2022, DJ Akademiks contacted Ziya and invited her to visit him at his house in New Jersey. Ziya did not suspect any ill intentions, even though it had been almost a year since they had last seen each other. She was accustomed to visiting Mr. Allen, DJ Akademiks, and DJ Akademiks sent a car service to Pennsylvania to pick her up. Unbeknownst to Ziya, DJ Akademiks had an ulterior motive. When he invited her to his home on July 16th of 2022. So Javier, this is a surprising statement to me, especially in light of a lot of the text messages that we're seeing, the videos, the conversation they had at the party, the conversation they had leading up to her coming to his house. So, I mean, what would you say, I guess, in the way of having a burden of proof for this statement? Does it really apply to the claim at all, or is it just they're adding some icing on top of it?
They're really so the little unbeknownst to Miss Abash or Ziya, Mr. Allen had no ulterior motive. That's just icing on it.
Okay.
It's like a little spooky story. It's like, oh, but little did he know he was planning this, this freak off or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So they really, oh man, this is just interesting, but I appreciate you helping us break this down. All right, we'll keep it moving.
Yeah, no problem.
Before her arrival, Mr. DJ Akademiks had notified his friends John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 that a woman would be coming over, and she was on a different type of vibes. But again, she said that in her own wording, I believe. And we'll get to the text messages here in a minute. I don't know if they included those specific text messages in the claim, but we'll get to it here. A different type of, and they describe what a different type of vibes is. Oh my God. A different type of vibes is an indication that Ziya would be coming over to engage in sexual activity. Is there a way to prove this, Javier? Or again, is that icing? Doesn't not matter.
It's just icing.
Okay.
So that particular paragraph is not really something to prove for the claim. It's just background for somebody who doesn't know what type of vibes is. You know what I mean?
I got you.
So
Yeah.
You do have to break this stuff down for like in layman's terms so people can understand what
that's hilarious. I would love to hear this being explained in court too. Actually, I have heard some cases read to where they explain certain types of things. And man, it gets funny in there. You got to hold back your laughter sometimes. According to a post on social media, Mr. Allen admitted to telling John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 and stated, "Now, granted, this is a girl who I've been dealing with for a couple of years. I messed with for years. When she came over that time, she told me she was like a dancer." All right, I guess we shouldn't say dancer. She's a writer, y'all. Some shit like that. I remember, and I don't know if maybe my ninjas took it the wrong way. because I remember she had told me, she was like, yo, the girl you used to know, like I'm on some bad girl vibes now type ish. Basically, she was like doing her thing. Now, Javier, they mentioned that he posted this on social media. A lot of people are saying he's looking guilty because his social media basically went black. As an attorney, if you were advising someone who had a similar case, would you say, hey, just shut it down?
Especially someone who is a blogger or someone who's in the media like Akademiks, because Akademiks is used to and even makes a living on making public statements and public posts. So when I think it'll be a erratic reaction for him to be hit with a lawsuit with these type of allegations and immediately take to the internet to try and address it. And that'll be bad because he could damage his case. And you better believe everything that Akademiks says regarding this case, even his live streams that he was making yesterday, I tuned in to a couple of them. They are looking at every second of those videos.
Yeah.
To see whether he, slips up and affirms or denies something. I would tell Akademiks, if he was my client, you can still do live streams, but no, don't make any content about this case.
Yeah.
While it's pending. That's what I would tell him.
Yeah.
I think he's making a mistake talking more and more about it.
Yeah, and to me, I mean, if you want to come out and say, hey, we had the investigation and nothing came up criminally, I'm letting my lawyers handle this, and that is what it is. Fine, but man, he is going crazy.
I want to mention that also. It is interesting that the police raided his home in 2022.
Yeah.
And we're halfway through 2024 and no criminal charges have been filed. They have the actual surveillance video of the sexual assault or alleged sexual assault occurring, the full footage. It makes me wonder about the contents of the video. It makes me wonder, did the police maybe see this video and see it as consensual? That would be one of my guesses, because a sexual assault happening like that, I would think that he would have already had criminal charges filed by now.
Yeah, cut and dry, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, and I guess it's hard to say in your experience, because I'm sure you've seen this go the other way, but in your experience, is it normal for them to take this long or not press charges immediately when they have video footage and all of this evidence against him, allegedly?
No, it's unless they're still investigating or still trying to gather evidence. And for a local police department like this, they're not the Fed, so they're not taking forever to do an investigation.
Right.
My guess would be, and I don't know this for sure, but my guess would be is that they didn't discover any wrongdoing on DJ Akademiks' behalf. That would be my guess when you have an actual, video footage of an assault like this occurring. My guess is that they reviewed it and didn't see any wrongdoing on his behalf. I won't go into like what they would see in the video that would show like possible consent.
Well, I mean, she mentioned, or she's obviously not going to mention this in the complaint, but DJ Akademiks mentioned that she said to him, oh yeah, we had some drinks and I remember twerking, in my bathing suit for them. So it's like, that's going to be tough.
I'm going to say this. Both of their narratives are two completely different narratives. And I don't want to say which one is true or which one isn't, but I will say that Ziya's allegations to me have more inconsistencies to it. When I run back her narrative of the story, I often have to stop and say, well, why didn't you do this, or this sounds funny, or this doesn't sound right. Usually for me handling sexual assault cases, even criminally, I even do this with my own clients. When you hear a narrative and it does not sound all the way right, you have to question it. I always do it to my clients first, because the other side will beat me to it and hit us with a surprise. Right. But when it doesn't make sense, when it feels like it's some missing pieces to the puzzle, it's because most times it usually is, and they're not saying everything. And that's the kind of vibes that I'm getting from her narrative. Not to say that what she's saying isn't true, or because I don't know, but just from going over her narrative, it
doesn't
I don't know.
fit.
I'm having a hard. It doesn't fit, man. It's too many. Yeah, but we'll get to that when we get more into the allegations.
So with that being said, it is just so, it still amazes me that with all the video evidence that is in the custody of the police, with the statements, I'm just gonna assume that they got statements from all four parties involved in this, right? When they were investigating the criminal side, with all of that evidence out there, still she has the ability, well, I don't want to say ability, but she has the confidence to go to Mr. Blackburn and file this complaint. I mean, is with all that evidence being available, am I just crazy thinking that it's strange she would go that far on a limb to file this complaint or not?
You're not crazy. I was thinking, I always pay attention to dates of when the date of incident occurred and when the lawsuit is filed or when charges are brought. So I always pay attention to dates like that. But no, it's not out of the ordinary to think what you're thinking. It's normal to wonder, why did she wait a long time? My initial theory was because after DJ Akademiks' house was raided, he started becoming public and making tweets about the incident and saying, right, hey, you really had sex with my friends, and that hurt me and surprised me, which she probably thought that that was a lie. Sorry, man, an email flashed across my screen. What was I just saying?
No, you're good, no worries. Yeah, you're basically saying that when she filed this, the reason that she was filing it and the date that she filed it is because of what Akademiks was saying and doing. Yeah.
I remember now. That was my theory of why she filed. Now,
right.
I watched some of Akademiks' live stream yesterday. Now, I did not know that Akademiks had some type of relationship with this Blackburn attorney, this Tyrone Blackburn guy.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
They were dealing with each other in the past on, it was some case. Was it Diddy's or? I want to say it might have been Diddy's case, trying to represent one of a potential plaintiff filing a civil suit against Diddy or something like that. I can't remember, but
yeah,
he was alluding to, this guy basically is just a check chaser, just chasing clout, trying to get a quick check, trying to do a shake, trying to shake them down, trying to get on the Akademiks alluded to. They reached out for a settlement before they actually filed the lawsuit.
Yep.
So I can understand how he thinks that this is a shakedown attempt, but he has some history with this attorney, and that made me realize that this lawsuit could be filed maybe on his own. Maybe he has some type of motive. I know one motive is to get paid.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely going to be a nice payday regardless. Yeah. But I wanted to ask you about this too. This was I'm glad, shout out to Hot Topics Radio in the chat. They said she's got a case against Ak anyways, even if she freaked out in a video. Ak had sex with her. Now did she consent to that? That's the case in a nutshell. So I want to talk to you about consent because you've seen it on the criminal side.
Yes.
I alluded to it yesterday about consent being somewhat of a gray area when it comes to being on the defendant side.
Yes.
With consent being given and consent being removed, can you just speak to that generally in cases like this?
Yes. So consent. Most sexual assault charges have a consent factor in it. Okay. And we all know what consent is. It's agreeing to something. Okay. The problem and the repeated cycle that I see in a lot of these cases involving sexual assaults is that it gives women power when they're consuming alcohol or any other type of drug. It gives them power to say, I really don't remember what happened last night. I was wasted, and and they could go with this whole I was unconscious thing and I don't remember, and the person should have reasonably known that I wasn't in my right mind to have sex. It's alcohol always fuzzies up the consent thing. Now I'll say this. I've had success in past sexual assault cases, aggravated sexual assault cases, the R word. I won't say the R word.
Wow.
You know, when you're saying that someone sexually assaulted you, and I hate to be this blank with you, but you're in a video like giving somebody head or something like that. Like, you know, you can't say like somebody forcibly raped you when you know, or excuse me for that, sexually assaulted you when you're active in the act and you can clearly see what's going on. I do the same thing with when we had those allegations and women had their legs in the air and nobody's holding them. You know what I mean? It's things like that that's you know, that can make a jury not believe that, you know, that you were sexually assaulted. You'd be amazed.
Right.
Yeah, you'd be amazed.
Now, when it comes to, I guess, someone saying, as you mentioned, the alcohol factor. Say we remove the alcohol factor for a second. Say it's a situation to where you're just hanging out with someone. You guys had a good time. You went back to their house. Things happen. And then they go home. Afterwards, you know, whatever happened. We'll just say it was a perfect situation, right? And then, unbeknownst to you, the girl involved, she goes and gets a kit done and says, I felt this way, and this way about it. Then you have allegations or you have a criminal case against you. When it comes to the consent factor in a case like that, is there, how does that normally go as an attorney when you're trying to say and show, no, there was consent there and it wasn't forced or it wasn't assault in any way? What would that look like?
So because the two people are in the privacy, I'm assuming, of a bedroom.
Right.
We really are never, a lot of times in these cases, you're not going to get the entire 100% full picture. Right. Because just the fact of the matter is we weren't there and we had to listen to both sides. These two people say what happened or what did not happen. So that's one thing. That's one thing about, but so it's tough to prove the consent. You have one person saying I didn't consent to this, and you have one person saying, yeah, I remember she was going along with everything and everything was a great time. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is the scary thing for guys. I always feel for my male clients when they're in situations like this.
Talk about it.
It can happen to you. Yeah, no, and the thing is, it can happen. It's very scary, and to my guys, it's why you want to be careful with these after the party, after the club hookups, because you don't know what you're dealing with, especially when y'all been drinking and things like that. This type of things can happen, and the police will take her statement, will charge you, and you'll just have to defend this stuff out in court. If you got a whole, it's bad, man. It's scary, but it's something that could absolutely happen.
Wow. All right. I appreciate you addressing that. And I thank you for that, because, I say it and I mention it to guys. It doesn't have the same weight. I went on this whole rant yesterday about y'all have to be careful. I'm telling you,
do.
It's so easy for someone to just walk down to the police station and say this happened. And then, you're spending however much time, however many resources to fight something like that. So, yeah, I appreciate you addressing that. It's definitely an important point.